When would you like to see Justin Fields play quarterback for the Bears?
When he and the team are ready. I'm not one of those people that needs to see him day one to prove some sort of point, especially if the offensive line doesn't feel ready to protect him and support him, especially if he doesn't have a good enough grasp of the offense. I think we've just seen some bad situations of guys picking up habits, getting happy feet, seeing ghosts. They don't really feel comfortable, and then they have to kick those, and they get away from what made them great, what made them get drafted high. And, we have this conversation all the time in the NFL, right? What is it better to let them sit behind someone and learn or to get started right away? And there are examples of both, right? You could absolutely throw out the Aaron Rodgers and the Pat Mahomes of the world, and then you can look at guys that got thrust into good situations. That's the key. They aren't just good players, but good situations. So if what you're seeing out of practice, and we're hearing a lot of good things, we're hearing a lot about him learning really fast, his football intellect. But if what you're seeing doesn't feel right, especially against the Rams week 1, go ahead and put Andy Dalton out there. That's you got him, and you could use him. And I would rather see that than try to prove some point with Justin Fields if he's not ready. I'm optimistic about the guys they grabbed for the offensive line and added those pieces, but I need to see it in practice too.
There was rumblings out in Chicago that the Bears might be moving. They might be moving from Soldier Field. Any truth to that?
So at first I completely scoffed at it because this is a ploy we saw the Cubs try to pull a couple years ago, that they were going to go to Rosemont. And I'm like, listen, let's just say you're about to sell off your entire team. You're going to want to hang on to Wrigley Field, which is the place that gets thousands of people to show up no matter how crap the team is. So we knew that was a total BS, kind of posturing to get the city to give them more concessions that they wanted. I thought that was all that was happening with the Bears, and I still think that's the majority of it. This is coming at a time when they have contracts up, and they're trying to get Mayor Lori Lightfoot and the rest of the city to give them more concessions on things that they want to build and add. But it is worth pointing out that Soldier Field doesn't necessarily have the cachet of Wrigley Field. It's not the draw. The team is. And there's tons of acreage in the burbs that they could build alongside a betting facility and all this other stuff. So it's a possibility. I still think Soldier Field on the lakefront in Chicago itself, as opposed to having one of those, burbs that takes the name of the city but isn't actually in it. I still think that's what they want. But it's not quite as ridiculous as the Rosemont Cubs.
Wow, that's interesting. I heard it and I was like, that's absurd. But you say there might be some meat on the bone there. The Chicago Bears might play outside of Soldier Field. It's crazy because the idea of watching the Bears play against the Packers and not being on the lake freezing as you have a cheese grater on your head, it just doesn't feel like it's Chicago.
First of all, you should never have a cheese grater on your head. Even if you hate the cheese heads, you still just never wear a grater on your head. You're better than that. But yeah, no, there's just it's first of all, it was a protected landmark, so there was all that trouble with that. Then they made some additions, and that took away that status. But it's still right there on that museum campus. There's nowhere to build really there. There's such a limited amount of space because it is right on the water near all those other things. So that would be the only reason. But again, I'm going odds are we're sticking at Soldier Field.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.